picture this. It's 1798.
Okay.
Britain's at war.
Mm-hmm.
Big war.
Mm-hmm.
Revolutionary France.
Yeah. Really a turning point in history.
And suddenly, poof, the entire French fleet vanishes.
It's like that. Gone.
Nobody knew where they went,
Yeah.
what they're up to. But, it can't be good.
Not good at all. I think we often forget just how vulnerable Britain was at this point. I mean, 5 years into this war, resources are stretched thin.
Right.
And then you have those mutinies at Spithead in the north.
Oh, yeah.
Shaking the very core of British naval power.
Absolutely. The Mediterranean, it's a lifeline, but it's hanging by a thread. If the French gain a foothold in the east, well, the British Empire in India, it's at risk.
Huge risk.
Yeah.
And into this maelstrom walks Horatio Nelson.
Larger-than-life figure.
Already, oh yeah.
The victory Cape St. Vincent.
Oh yes, brilliant.
But then there's that defeat at Tenerife.
Yeah.
That shadow hanging over him. He's fascinating, though, isn't he? Nelson? I mean, vain.
Oh, for sure.
But also very introspective.
Yeah. Complex character, prickly, but his dedication to Britain, unquestionable.
Yeah. So they're given this impossible task, find the French fleet, this armament, and stop them before it's too late.
Stop them before it's too late. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack, right?
Yeah.
The Mediterranean's vast.
Huge.
And intelligence, well, it's basically rumors, whispers. You can almost feel the pressure on Nelson. Every day that ticks by, it's bringing Britain closer to disaster.
So he sets off. Small squadron. But it's the best to the best.
Oh, yeah. The elite of the Royal Navy.
Men like Ball, Saumarez, Trowbridge. Names every naval history buff will know. And immediately there's a challenge.
What's that?
A massive storm. Almost cripples Nelson's flagship, the Vanguard.
Almost symbolic, isn't it? I mean, you've got this storm right at the start, foreshadowing the whole perilous journey ahead.
Absolutely.
They're facing not just the French, but the power of nature itself.
So the search begins. Frustrating. Confusing. Getting updates from Admiral Jervis back at Gibraltar. Chasing these leads. Trying to piece together these scraps of information. At one point, they actually sail right past the French fleet.
No.
Without knowing it.
It's unbelievable. Just think about that. Sailing right past them, talk about pressure. Any delay could be catastrophic.
And then Nelson, he has to make a choice.
Right.
There's some intelligence suggesting Egypt might be the target.
Egypt.
It's a gamble. But he sets course for Alexandria. They get there, what do they find?
Nothing.
Nothing. No French fleet, empty streets, bewildered locals.
That's got to be demoralizing.
It would have been easy to give up right then, just accept defeat. But Nelson, he's tenacious. He notices something.
What's that?
The French warships, the heart of the fleet, they're not in Alexandria. Where are they? Could they be somewhere else along the coast? Nelson's not going to let this chance slip away.
No way.
But while all this is happening, Napoleon Bonaparte, he's landed in Egypt. What a moment in history.
Yeah.
While Nelson's at sea, Napoleon's ashore, changing the map of Europe.
Napoleon's motivations, they were always, well, complex. Disrupt British trade, sure, but also this vision of himself as a new Alexander the Great.
Right.
Conquering these ancient lands, adding to his legend.
Wow.
The whole expedition, it really speaks to his ambition, this desire to leave his mark on history.
So Nelson's missed his chance to stop the landing.
Right.
The mission, in that sense, it's a failure.
It is. But hang on, it's not over.
No.
No. The French fleet, it's the key to Napoleon's entire operation.
Yeah.
And that fleet, it's still out there,
Yeah.
somewhere. As long as it's afloat, there's hope.
So driven by that sliver of hope, Nelson makes a decision. He's going to scour that Egyptian coast, find those French ships, turn the tide. And his captains, these, band of brothers, they trust him completely. They're in this together, ready to risk everything for a chance at victory. Last we left off, Nelson and his squadron, they were combing that Egyptian coast, desperately searching for the French fleet. The stakes couldn't be higher. And with each passing hour, the pressure just mounts.
It's incredible to imagine, isn't it? Those ships. Sails billowing day after day, just scouring the horizon, hoping for any sign of their enemy. It really speaks to Nelson's leadership. The fact that those men, they never gave up, despite all the setbacks.
Yeah. And then August 1st, 1798, a lookout spots land, the coast of Egypt. But as they approach Alexandria, there's this sense of dread.
What is it?
The French transports,
Right.
the ones that would carry Napoleon's army, they're empty, sitting in the harbor, empty.
Oh no, so they've chased them across the Mediterranean, pushed themselves to the limit, and they're too late. Egypt has already fallen.
Yeah, it would have been so easy to just turn around admit defeat. But Nelson, he's just not wired that way. He notices something.
What's that?
The French warships, the big ones, the heart of the fleet, they're not there.
They're not in Alexandria.
No. So where are they? Could they be anchored somewhere else? Maybe further down the coast? Nelson's not going to miss this chance. He sends 2 of his fastest ships, the Zealous and the Goliath, to scout east of Alexandria.
And what happens next?
It's almost like something out of a movie. 2 points in the afternoon. A young midshipman, George Eliot, he's up in the mast of the Goliath. He's looking through his telescope.
What does he see?
He spots them. 13 French ships of the line, big ones, anchored in a bay called Abu Qir, near the mouth of the Nile.
Wow. So they found them, the French fleet, the key to Napoleon's entire Egyptian adventure.
Right there, within striking distance. You can just imagine the relief, the elation.
But I imagine it's also a bit daunting.
Right.
Because these French ships, they're anchored in a strong defensive position, forming a line, cannons pointing outwards. Not going to be easy to take them on.
No, it's going to take a bold plan.
Heh.
And Nelson, he's never been one to shy away from a challenge. He wants to crush them. Right then and there, no waiting around.
So what does he do?
This is where Nelson's brilliance really shines. He knows the French are probably feeling pretty confident. They've got their defenses set up. He needs to catch them off guard.
Outmaneuver them.
Exactly. So he decides on this incredibly risky maneuver.
Okay. What is it?
He's going to split his fleet.
Split the fleet.
Send some ships to attack from one side, others from the other. Concentrate their firepower. Overwhelm the French.
Wow. That's pretty revolutionary for the time. Most commanders wouldn't dare divide their forces like that, especially against a larger enemy.
I know. But Nelson, he trusts his captains. He knows they can pull it off. And he's counting on the element of surprise. They're going to attack at dusk.
Use the fading light to their advantage.
Yeah. Mask their movements as they approach. It's a gamble. But fortune favors the bold, Rust.
They say that.
So the sun starts to set, casting these long shadows over the water. Nelson gathers his captains. Final briefing.
I bet the tension was palpable.
Oh, yeah. This isn't just a battle. It's a clash of titans, a moment that will determine the fate of Egypt, the course of the Napoleonic Wars, maybe even the destiny of nations.
And as darkness falls, those British ships, they weigh anchor and set sail towards that unsuspecting French fleet, another turning point in history. What happens next? We'll have to wait and see.
The scene is set. It's dark. Abu Qir Bay. You've got the French fleet shrouded in this eerie silence. But out there, Nelson's ships, they're closing in. Cannons loaded, ready to unleash hell.
August 1st, 1798, a date that will live on in naval history. This is more than a battle. It's a clash of empires. 2 of the most powerful navies in the world about to collide.
And remember, Nelson's plan, it all hinges on that daring maneuver, splitting the fleet, attacking from both sides, catching the French completely off guard.
It really shows Nelson's genius, doesn't it? This understanding of naval warfare. Most commanders would never risk dividing their forces like that, especially against a larger enemy. But Nelson, he sees the opportunity.
Yeah, and so those British ships, they slip through the darkness, cruise at their battle stations. The French, they're anchored, complacent, totally unprepared for what's about to hit them.
And think about it. The French, they're in this line, cannons facing outwards. They think they're in a strong position, but Nelson's about to turn the tables.
The first British ships to engage, the Goliath and the Zealous, their captains, top-notch. They find a gap in the French line, and then bam! They unleash this devastating broadside on the French flagship, L'Orient. A broadside, by the way, that means all the cannons on one side of the ship firing at once. Imagine the firepower.
It's a brilliant move. Cripple the flagship. You strike a blow at the heart of their command, create chaos, disrupt their coordination.
And it works. The French are stunned.
Disoriented.
And then British ships are pouring fire into their line from both sides. It's absolute mayhem. Cannons roaring, musket fire, ships grinding against each other, men fighting hand to hand, blood everywhere.
It's hard to even grasp the scale of this. Thousands of men locked in this desperate struggle. The smoke, the fire, the sea itself lit up by the cannons and the burning ships.
All through the night it rages. One by one, the French ships, they start going down. Masts shattered, holes riddled with holes. The British, they just keep coming, inspired by Nelson, determined to win.
And at the center of it all, that French flagship, L'Orient. A massive, powerful ship, but she can't withstand the onslaught.
She catches fire, flames everywhere, and then a little after 9 o'clock it happens, L'Orient's magazine explodes. A gigantic fireball rips the ship apart. It's unbelievable.
I can't even imagine an explosion like that. It must have been felt for miles, burning debris raining down from the sky. It's a reminder of just how destructive war can be.
For the French, it's the end. Their flagship is gone, their line is shattered, their morale is broken. By dawn, it's over. The Battle of the Isle is a British victory.
A decisive victory. The French fleet decimated. Only 2 ships of the line escape. Nelson, he's pulled it off. A testament to his tactical genius, his leadership, and the bravery of his men. This victory, it's going to send shockwaves across Europe.
Yeah. The Battle of the Nile, it's more than just a military win. It's a symbol of British strength. Their determination to defeat Napoleon, it secures their control of the seas, protections their trade routes, and it really cripples Napoleon's plans in the East.
And of course, it makes Nelson a legend, a hero. His name will forever be synonymous with daring, brilliance, victory.
So what can we take away from all this? Well, it shows that even when things look bleak, determination, a bit of ingenuity, it can make all the difference. History, it can turn on a dime. And the human spirit, when it's focused, it can achieve amazing things. Well, that's it for our deep dive into the hunt for Napoleon and the Battle of the Nile. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the past.